Welcome to Weighted to Win. It's an episode with Darryl Maree and Daryn Burroughs. Again, Weighted to Win, been in hot form. The double again last weekend that we managed to land. And the good news now, of course, is that Darryl, for Johannesburg, the season has begun with some superb racing on the weekend. The challenge, of course, there, excuse the pun, is that they've had quite a lot of rain overnight. And the meeting, there's a sort of an in-between, are we or aren't we going to race? Depends how much more rain falls overnight.
Yeah, I must say, Clyde, this afternoon the skies have cleared and it looks awesome outside. Some wonderful overnight rain, desperately needed, but now it just puts the meeting in jeopardy with regards to tomorrow. But the latest press release is they might postpone it to Sunday if they're getting the expected rainfall that is predicted overnight. So we'll just play it by ear. But yes, proper horse flesh being stepped out now and exciting times.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we'll get a decision, I'm sure, by Saturday morning. I'll make a decision. And the track's had a lot of rain racing as well, so it doesn't make it easier. And Daryn, of course, your side too with the Durbanville's. You've got the Matcham and the Diana as well. There's some big racing going on there as well. So well done there. And how's the weather been in the Cape?
Now, the weather's been good in the Cape all week, so the track's running really fast at the moment. I'm actually going to the course. I've booked a table at Durbanville. There's a couple of smart horses in action. We got in the fillies race Captain's Ransom, Marina, and then in the colts we got the up-and-coming Cosmic Highway taking on a 1400-meter specialist such as Seeking the Stars. So really top horses in action tomorrow at Durbanville.
Okay, well, that's brilliant. Well, why don't we then get straight into the show, and I think what we can do is go through the card and what we've got for you in terms of the Durbanville changes are those that are on the screen at present. Those are the ones right now. Those are the scratchings that you can mark up in race 4, as 4 and 5 both being taken out. In race 6, number 2 has been taken out. And in race 8, number 5. For the Durbanville card, we agreed that we will preview the 2 feature races, the Diana Stakes being race 6. So I'll stay with you, Daryn, for the moment, where you quite rightly have already said that you've got that fantastic filly Captain's Ransom running, and 9 to 20, I suppose the betting does all the talking here.
Yes, for sure. It really does look a one-horse race. I looked at this filly Marina. She's won from... Well, she wins from a mile up to 2,400 meters. And in a small field, Captain's Ransom probably have the run of the race, and she's got great acceleration. So I do make it a one-horse race. Marina will be doing her best work late, but I don't see her beating Captain's Ransom over the 1,400-meter trip.
And Darryl, would you have the same sentiment on the Diana Stakes, or absolute one-horse race?
You can't get past her, Clyde. She's well clear on the ratings. The second best filly is actually Scented Mistress, who comes in, I think, 4 pounds below her. But one has to take into consideration that Scented Mistress earned a rating over 2,000. So on ratings, it's a one-horse race, Captain's Ransom. She's been to Durbanville twice before. She won this race last year, beating Clouds Unfold. Barring any accident, it should be home and hosed. Marina's also another one that's earned a rating of a further. So really, Captain's Ransom, the Cape Fillies winner, the Mallorca winner, the WSB Fillies Guineas winner. She's really all class. And although it's the start of her prep, I expect her to win this quite comfortably.
Okay, well, stay with me with these racing Matcham Stakes, grade 3, 1,400 meters, where there's been some really good, horses, champions that have come from winning the Matcham in the past. So the field that bet 5 to 2, the field, 2 joint favourites in both Seeking the Stars and a Cosmic Highway joint favourite at 5 to 2. So Vaughan Marshall and Dean Caname are basically at this point in time dominating the Matcham. But I think it's a kind of race, I don't know how you see it, but the kind of race that perhaps one might want to include a few more.
I'm not too sure about that, Clyde. I think the top one, Seeking the Stars, he's going to take a lot of beating. Just have a look at the races he's contested. He's been in the Gold Challenge, Grade 1, the Champions Cup, Grade 1, the WSB Guineas. He's rated to win this. I'm not too concerned with his wide draw because he's got early natural pace. He'll be able to get over quite comfortably. I do think the pace will be on, but if he's made to work hard, I won't be surprised if Speed Machine manages to get a little bit closer to him. He has held him in the past on 2 occasions, but if Seeking in the Stars doesn't get the luck in running early on, and the pace is really, really on, Speed Machine is one that can turn it on. He's got a devastating turn of foot on his day, but he is clearly held on form. So I think those two are ones to focus on the exactas. And the unknown package in the race is the 3-year-old Cosmic Highway. But just based on on who he's been taken on in the past, I think Seeking the Stars is going to take some beating.
Okay, Darren, let me ask you then, what is your take? Have you narrowed it down to those two, or is there something else in there?
Well, I've made Seeking the Stars pretty much the best bet on the card besides Captain's Ransom. From the 11 draw, he's got to go to the front. He runs his best races from the front. He stretches the field out. He did it previously, and then he keeps up that gallop up the home straight. And with the track running fast at the moment at Durbanville, with a penetrometer of around 20, it's very hard to catch the front runners. So from the 11 draw, if he gets over to the lead, he'll be a very hard horse to pass in the straight. He's a Group 1 performer. This is a Grade 3 race, and he's a 1400 meter specialist. So my money will be on Seeking the Stars to win the Matcham Stakes.
Okay, and there's no issue with Durbanville. You're not worried about that?
No, I'm not worried about that. I think that's actually in his favour. Pretty much like the old course at Kenilworth was.
Yes. Okay, interesting. I thought that maybe Speed Machine might be worth considering too. That's fine. That takes care of what's very exciting to the start of the season in the Western Cape. The Turffontein inside track, the penetrometer with an update that we haven't got that right now, but we know they've had quite a lot of rain. The only update on scratchings was the card scratching in race 7, number 9, and we'll start with the first leg of the pick 6 race number 4 on the card, where they are betting at 2 to 1. The field, the cop is currently at 2 to 1. 1 Reunions at 3 to 1. 3 Southern Song 4 to 1 with the 5 Imperial Master, the same trading at 4 to 1. I found it to be a difficult race, Darren.
Yes, it is quite an open-looking race, and when you are going to collateral form, it brings a couple of others into the race, such as Imperial Master. That's actually my first choice. If you go back 3 runs behind Trend Master, where he ran 2 lengths behind Reunion, there's an 8 kilo swing in the weights. So he's carrying 52 kilos, Reunion 60 kilos, and that's why I'm leaning towards Imperial Master as my first choice in the race. I don't think he'll have a problem with a 2200 meter trip. I don't think there's going to be much pace in the race, so he can settle a length or 2 off the leader, and he does look the horse to beat. Over the Cop, who's really come well of late. He has a 3 kilo swing with Reunion for a 5-length beating 3 runs back as well, and he's really found top form of late. Lyle Hewitson in the saddle, and Reunion for 3rd. He was a bit disappointing last time out. We'll just have to see how he goes this time around.
Yeah, Darryl, what did you make of Reunion's last run?
It was very, very disappointing. He moved up, he loomed up, very dangerous, going through the 300, but he found absolutely nothing. Clyde, I think Darren touched on a very important point of view. I don't see much pace in the race. It really, there's a lack of pace in the race. We know that Reunion has been to the front in the past, and he was victorious on that occasion. But I don't see him making it a breakneck pace, considering that the sting is out the ground. I don't see him really stringing them out and testing them. So there is going to be a lack of pace in the race. If he does happen to find himself in front, I don't think he'll be going that fast. So I think
this
race could be muddled.
Would be the category 4. Will he not be the pace setter, perhaps, number 2?
No, he always likes to be given a chance. So for that reason, I think this race could be muddled. But in saying that, Reunion is very, very talented on his day. Last time out, the handicappers actually made him a good thing because he ran way above his rating. that's the reason why he was very, very disappointing, because he was weighted to actually win on that occasion. The Cop, he's certainly turned the corner. I think he's only had 3 runs with the tongue tie. He's run second, first, and first. And obviously the penny's dropping. He's in good form, and the stable as well. So healthy respect for the Cop. And like Darren touched on, Imperial Master, just go back to that Trendmaster run, and you'll see why he's in here with a big, big shout. Southern Song. Now, she's a filly, obviously still on the up. She's been very, very impressive on the inside track with those 2 victories behind her name. She really impressed on both of those occasions. And the slower they go, I think that the more it will suit her, because she's really got a good turn of foot. But you know what, Clyde, because of the lack of the pace, I think this race could turn a result up, and I've gone field in my personal pick 6.
Okay. Well, let's go to race number 5, which is the opening leg of the Jackpot. It's a Pinnacle Stakes. It's over 1,800 meters, and Sent by Destiny tops the boards, number 2 on the card. Is currently trading at 3-1. Netta's at 33-10, and I know she's probably going to need it, and she's been off for a while, Darryl. But I know she's got top weight, but I like Netta quite a lot.
But there's no doubt she's the fast package in the race. In saying that, she is returning from a long rail. She's not going to be cut in half. This is the start of her prep. But you know what? Her class could pull her through, and it will be no shock to see her win this. Because you know what? She must be one of the most improved fillies in training the last 6 months of her career. She's really stepped up her game, and she's contested the best there is around in her age group. So healthy respect for her, but I do think it's a prep for her. You know, Clyde, I'm looking towards the stable companion, the one right at the bottom of the boards, Hearts Twins. Now you can see another race that is void of pace. I think she's really going to get it easy up front, and she's a galloper with 52.5 to shoulder and sticky going. If she gets away from them, she's going to be difficult to peg back. On a few form lines, she meets quite a few of your better weight terms, and she should finish closer. And with a little bit of luck in running, she's my upset material in the race. Another filly that will love the sting out of the ground is Magical Flight. Now, we haven't seen the best of her recently, but I think with the going the way it is going to be on Saturday or Sunday, it's certainly going to suit her and be in her favor. So I'm expecting a more improved run from her. And then, you know, barring the ones I've touched on, Sent by Destiny, that was a cracking effort last night. She actually gave 3 kilograms to a really exciting prospect in Safe Passage. And she was running all over the course. She should have actually finished much closer. I see they put a set of blinkers on her, so I'm expecting her to be thereabouts at the finish. But another very competitive race. And once again, I've gone field, and you know what? I won't be out going into the third leg of the process.
There's no doubt. You've covered yourself well in the first 2 legs. Darren, what do you make of it, Darren? Yeah, it does appear to be quite a tough race. Although, you know, in a Pinnacle Stakes, sometimes you want to take advantage of weight advantages and form, etc. What do you make of it, Darren?
I've narrowed the race down to 4 runners. Netta, Sent by Destiny, Magical Flight, and Fault Flower as a roughie. My first choice will be Magical Flight, returning from Durban and last start behind Keep on Dancing. If you go back to the Oaks run, over 2-4, she ran a neck behind Netta at level weights. Now she receives 10 kilos. So on that sort of performance, it brings her right into the race with a fighting chance. On that kind of run alone, and her third in the Classic behind War of Athena, to come into a Pinnacle with 52 kilos, I think she could be quite well in. So Magical Flight for me. Sent by Destiny, very good comeback run last time out. She seems to lose herself halfway through the race, and I think the set of blinkers could sharpen her up and get her into a better position early on. Then Netta, returning from a big break, but full of class, 62 kilos. I have included her, but I do think that she'll need the run. And then Fault Flower, with only 49 kilos on her back. The Baron Bottas stable have turned the corner in a big way, and this filly could be staying on strongly at the finish with such a light weight and a sting up the ground.
Okay, interesting horses you found over there as far as the fifth race is concerned, Darren. And well, I guess as we go to the Dryberg Spring Fillies and Mares Challenge, in this race, under your spell, 1 to 3 or thereabouts, 1 to 4, whatever you want to call it, 2 to 7. She's it appears to be a one-horse race, certainly betting, form, etc. Hard to beat. She won super impressively her last start. And I guess the two short favourites are for those who are odds-on punter favourites, which I'm never in favour of, as you know, but nevertheless, there may be the obvious double is this filly in Joburg and the odds-on in the Cape.
Yes, for sure. You know, this filly does look the right price, around 2 to 7. She was so impressive on her comeback run. After winning the Allen Robertson, she came into a pinnacle. She won hands and heels, skipped away from them top of the straight, and it was race over. On that kind of performance, she's going to win again. With only 54 kilos, the only possible danger could be big burn, but she does seem to burn herself up in the early parts of the race. She doesn't settle. And over the 1450, if she's fighting along in front, she may have a quick burst at the 400, but Under Your Spell is going to have her in her tracks. So I make Under Your Spell close to a penalty kick over Big Burn for second.
Okay, so hard to beat. I mean, Darryl, the way she won her last start Under Your Spell, I mean, the way she moves, she really could be anything. I mean, she could be the future star.
Absolutely, Clyde. She's smashing this filly, and she settles and she turns it on. So, you know, she's so well weighted over here. You can't really look past her. Big Burn, you know, she's got so much early pace. One has to think that she's possibly at her best over 6 furlongs. So going the 1450 on a sticky track, she has to be vulnerable. In saying that, I do believe she'll find herself in front, and she'll, like Darren said, she'll give that kick, but I'm really expecting Under Your Spell to run her down. So there's nothing else really to touch on. I think, like you touched on, the professional double of the day has to be, or the weekend, has to be Under Your Spell and Captain's Ransom. Okay.
And from a going perspective, we're not worried about the going with Under Your Spell because it seems like she's overcome that before.
Clyde, one never knows how they're going to act on the day, but on paper, she's a penalty kick.
Okay, well, let's go to the Joburg Spring Challenge. This is Racing Joburg Spring Challenge over 1450 meters, where MK's Pride is top of the boards at 2 to 1 and got the green light is at 33 to 10. Are you surprised, Darryl, with the market that MK's favourite and not got the green light, or would you agree?
If you strictly look at form lines, one would expect the betting to be the other way around, because got the green light is 3.5 kilograms better off the MK's Pride. I think for their meeting in the Hawaii States. But in saying that, MK's Pride recently stepped out and he won a really gutsy race. That was 3 weeks ago, and there's no doubt he's got racing fitness on his side. And you know, Paul Peter and Warren Kennedy, there's always going to be money in the market for him. Whereas got the green lights, returning from a layoff. This is a prep run, so I don't think they're too far off over here, Clyde. But just on paper, you'd expect him to be the other way around. Got the green lights. He really races well fresh, Clyde. And the sting is out the ground now that we've had the first rains. We have had lovely rainfall over the last 24 hours. And I think he's going to really, really love that. So, you know, racing fresh, it might push it to 1500 or 1550. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him win on his comeback. But MK's Pride, I actually thought he won with a little bit in the hand last night, and I don't believe the race was run to suit him. I think they went too slow for his liking. And I'd like to see if there's no pace early on, I'd actually like to see him up front, because he's really got a turn off foot. And if I personally believe he's better than his last win, better than what the margin suggests. So I'm not looking past the top 2 in the betting. I think MK's Pride and got the green light. MK's Pride probably get the run of the race. got the green light, will be asked to go fetching in the final 100. And that's the way I predict it. The one the horse I want to touch on for trifectas and quartets, go have a look at Tierra del Fuego. Have a look at his form in the soft. I think he's won 3 races in the soft. If they do get any more rain and it does come up really sticky, I think he's one to throw into your trifectas.
Okay, that's Tierra del Fuego. Daryn, yeah, what is your take on between MK and Got the Green Light? Who do you prefer of the two?
I prefer Got the Green Light. You know, when you go back to when MK's Pride beat him in the Hawaii Stakes over 1400, Got the Green Light was coming off a 10-month layoff and giving him 5 kilos and still got within half a length. I like the fact that the Sting's going to be out the ground. Got the Green Light is one from one in the wet going. And he's only had a 2.5-month break between his last run and this run. I don't see the 1450 meter trip being a problem. He's got an electrifying turn of foot, and the fact that he's 3.5 kilos better off with MK's Pride on their last meeting, I favor Got the Green Light as my first choice over MK's Pride, who is a 1400 meter specialist. He'll run his race. And then Copper Mountain, who got beat half a length in the Horse Chestnut Stakes behind Got the Green Light, meets him under the same terms again, so shouldn't be far off. But for me, Got the Green Light to make a winning return.
A horse like Mr. Flood, I just want to ask you boys, and I'll stay with you, Daryn. Mr. Flood, I'm racing with Keith Waterston tomorrow, so I'll be in his box watching from there. But going with this distance now, going around the turn, I know he's earned his rating up the straight, but could he be the type of horse that could run, you know, high up in the trifecta?
There is a chance, you know, they never really tried him this sort of trip. His last run was a really fantastic return to form. He had a big weight of 64.5 kilos, and he was narrowly beaten. He's a really good horse on the at the Vaal. He's run his best races at the Vaal on a fast course. We actually, I think, broke the course record once at the Vaal over either 1,000 meters or 1,200 meters. It'll be interesting to see if he goes to 1450, but I'm glad they're trying him the trip. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Absolutely. Let's go to the 8th race then. Stay with me, Daryn. And City by the Sea I thought won a very good race last time, and is naturally fit and naturally in good form.
Yes, he won a cracker last week, beating Noble Striker, who came out and won at the Vaal on Thursday. A very good race yesterday. So on that sort of performance, I don't think the 6-point penalty he got's going to stop him. He will be my narrow first choice, City by the Sea. And then I found a horse like War Jewel, whose rating's down to a 76, and with only 54.5 kilos, on runs like third behind Foreign Field over the mile trip, beaten 1 length. There's a 3 kilo swing in his favor. Others to consider, Seaways, who I think was just in need of that last run, and it did also report not striding out, but he loves this course. He's won 4 from 9 starts at the inside track, so he's got to be in with a big chance. Another one to consider, Eskimo Pie, who didn't beat the strongest of fields last time, but he's coming on the right way and must be considered. For me, I'm going 5, 8, 2, 7, and 1.
I mean, I know Paul was very confident. I didn't speak to him, unfortunately, today. I know he was very confident last week, but remember he told us that's the play of the day. Darryl, would you agree, City by the Sea, the horse to beat? And what's your confidence like with him?
There's no doubt he's the horse to beat. That was a very impressive win recently, because he was caught on the fence and he took a stride or two to unwind. And then when he got going, there was no stopping him and he was running away. He's obviously in good form and he could be ahead of the handicapper. And like Daryn touched on, the form has been franked. So I actually think his price is generous. I think he might start a little bit shorter come race time, because he's certainly the horse to beat. Eskimo Pie, I thought he won really, really well last time. I thought he won with a bit in hand, more than what the margin suggests. He was traveling oh so sweetly on that occasion, and he really wasn't asked much. So I think that £4 penalty that he received is on the lenient side. So I've got healthy respect for him. I know Leading Lad hasn't franked the form, but you must remember Leading Lad was very unlucky at the Vaal in his next start. And then I don't believe he stayed the 1800. I'm waiting for him to drop over 1450 or 1400. So I think Eskimo Par off his current rating is certainly the biggest danger to City by the Sea. And I found a little bit of a lurking for my pick 6, and that's Baymax. Now, he hasn't been seen at his best recently, but you just have to go back to that run beyond Parmigiana's Pride, and that shows that he is capable on his day. And maybe with this thing at the ground, racing fresh and being brought back in trip, he could be the joker in the pack. But I really believe City by the Sea should take some beating.
Yeah, you might have found a bit of a shooty there with Baymax, eh? At 16-1. Interesting. On the Parmigiana Pride run, talking about Parmigiana's Pride, I have spoken to Ali Glenn. He said that horse will need the run. He'd like to see it finish close up, 5th, 6th midfield. He'd be happy with that run. But I think you might have found something with Baymax at 16-1. Daryn, okay, so I think we've got the summary of the 8th race. The 9th race, let me stay with you, Darryl. I'll come to Daryn in a moment. Clafouti, I think everybody made Clafouti hard to beat the last time Clafouti ran. And the question is, can Clafouti win again, Darryl?
Clyde, she was expected to win last time out because, like we told our viewers, it was a very, very shallow field. And if she didn't win on that occasion, she had no sort of ability. But she won with a ton in hand. And the post-race comments were very, very positive. They're expecting this filly to go on and do well. They're expecting more from her. So now that she's going back up to a mile and she strips fitter, she is going to be the one to beat. She's going to have to step up again because this is tougher, but she certainly has ability. And I don't believe the market represents her chances. I think she'll drift come race time. I think her current odds are a bit on the skinny side, but I do think she'll be right there at the finish. I like the look of number 8, Timbavati River. Now, I know his form line wasn't franked yesterday when Karapi got beat, but just have a look at his current rating. He's a 3-year-old. He's racing off a 78. He's receiving 4 kilograms from Top Westleton. And I think Top Westleton can't give him 4 kgs. I actually think Timbavati River is going to be very, very competitive off his rating. And you know what? His dam went up to 1800. He's a big son of Duke of Marmalade. I think he's going to be even more effective over this trip. He's well drawn. He's got early pace. The pace he's certainly going to be on with the likes of Warcast and My Kingdom in the race. And he can sit in a handy position from a good draw. He's not going to be asked to do much. So I expect him to be Clafouti's biggest danger. I'm expecting the 3-year-olds to really come to the fore and shine up here against the older hard knockers. I think they've got more to come. So Clafouti from Timbavati River for me in the last.
Okay. So 5 and 8 the last. Daryn, and your take on Clafouti? I mean, you must have been impressed with the way she won, but Darryl's got a point. She's taking on the boys now, and it's a bit tougher.
Yes, I think she's got a bright future ahead of her. And being a half-sister to horses like Bayberry, I think she's going to see out 2,000 meters, no problem. Yes, it is her first run up the maidens. She beat a very shallow field, but I'm glad they're stepping her back to a mile. I think she's looking for much more than this in future. But being her first run up the maidens, I'm actually leaning towards Timbavati River. Off his current rating, the way he won over 1450 and extended from them late, I really think he's going to enjoy the mile. So I like the step up in trip with only 54 kilos from a 1 draw. I'll make him the horse to beat over Clafouti for second, and then a horse like Wakas, who's finally dropped right down to a 68. And I think he can be very competitive.
So are you going 8-5-4?
I'm going 8-5-4.
No, I also like the 4 quite a bit there. I want you to ask your opinion quickly, because I just want, I gave it a chance, and Lucky Woodalakis' runner earlier on in the day, I like very much. I'm sorry I never brought it up earlier when we spoke about it. I just want to quickly find and give her what chances do you make of her? I thought she might just be the horse, I know she's taking on the boys, etc. But I kind of liked her. Now You See Me, that horse in the 8th race. Do you give that any chance?
I would have preferred her over the 1450 meter trip. I think she's most effective over the 1450. So I haven't included her, but she must have an outside chance. Her rating is right up from a 73 down to an 87. So it's going to be a lot harder for her now.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to get an opinion on that. All right. Well, that's the 9th race on the card from Darryl and Daryn in terms of what to include in your play. Cast might be the value at 8-1. WhatsApp, just on the note of that, for the guys that we've been talking about it for a while now, and you're probably wondering what is happening, and those of you that have joined, well, the good news is that we're closing deals as we're going along, and after chatting with Darryl and Daryn, there'll be a special double that comes out on the WhatsApp this week. So if you're already part of it, well done. If you're not, I think you can only take 265 a group. We're on our 2nd group already, but we're closing in fast, put it that way. So please join, send your number, your name and your email address to 069 164 3272 and be part of our exciting WhatsApp privé. Darren's play of the day, you can have a look there. I'll just move this out the way for you guys. And Daryn, you could just take us through your best bets on the card.
Okay, so Turffontein, my pick 6 cost 900 Rand full, 90 Rand 10%. I've gotten the 1 banker in the 3rd leg. And my best bets, Turffontein race 3, number 1, Shangani. I think he's going to relish the trip of 2200 meters. I think he's crying out for the ground, and I make him very hard to beat. And my best bet in Durbanville is race 7, number 2, Seeking the Stars, at around 5-2. My treble play for the day in Turffontein, multiple play, all wins, Shangani, Under Your Spell, and Got the Green Light at around 12-1.
Okay, well, the form speaks for itself. Darryl, and there's your slide for both Turffontein and Durbanville.
Yes, that's correct, Clyde. My pick 6 comes to a full units of 756. Only the 1 banker and Under Your Spell. She has to be the best bets on the card. And I've just gone the safe route with MK's Pride and Got the Green Lights. And then my double for the day, my actual best bet comes up in Durbanville. Nasseria. Now, she's a daughter by Silvana out of a Fortwood mare. And she's had 2 runs over distances sharp of her ultimate in sticky going. They've now stepped her up to a mile. And the going's going to be quick. I think that's going to suit her. She's very well related. She's actually a half sister to Persian Road, who I think contested the gold bracelets. And she's going to love the extra. If I think she's got any sort of ability, she'll win and she'll win quite comfortably, because I don't believe it's the strongest field that she takes on. I'm expecting her to go very, very close. And then the obvious one, Under Your Spell. So take that double for the day. You won't get hurt.
It's a good, nice price. So, Daryn, what's your take on Nasseria?
I think she's a massive runner. I think her pedigree suggests she's going to improve a lot over the mile. I do see Dean Canema's runner, I'm not, Gaverny or something, being a main danger. She's also going to relish the mile trip. Okay,
so that's interesting. That's a Nasseria and Durbanville as well. And there's Darryl's pick 6 for 75 Rand at 10%. The weighted to win double on the day, as you heard Daryn saying, his best bet on the Turffontein card is Shangani, and Darryl, of course, Under Your Spell, and that doubles a 3-1 double if you get the stretch between the two on those two at Turffontein. As far as my bet is concerned, I'm starting in the first. I said I spoke to Alec back to Formentera. You've been to Formentera in Spain. You want to go to the island, boys? Maybe if the double and the treble goes, we can land up on the island in Spain. But when I asked him about it, he said, look, she's, as far as they're concerned, she's looking for the ground, the 1450, and that's pretty much, or the 1400, the 1450. That's why I like her. I thought it was an open. There are a few in here. It's an open race that there are a couple that have got chances, but I said, if anything, if it's anyone's turn to win, it's Formentera, back to Formentera's to win. So that's why I'm starting the day early with a 9-2 shot. Let it drift, let it go 6-7 to 1, even better. We'll start our day with the Open. And that's pretty much the outcome as far as the show is concerned. We once again want to thank you all very much for joining and trust that you're going to have a good day. So Darren, you said you're going to go to the Durbanville on Saturday, right?
Yeah, I'm going. I booked a table outside. There was no tables available upstairs, but I'm happy to watch the rugby outside on the big screen and then the racing to follow.
Lovely. Yeah, well, hopefully the Booker will now eventually get a chance to win whilst they're there. And Darryl, we don't know if we're going to be at Turffontein on Saturday or Sunday, but either way, we look forward to a great meeting.
Absolutely, Clyde. Some wonderful racing of the weekend. I'm really looking forward to following it.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a good weekend, and hopefully we can boast about what you boys have tipped.
It's all thumbs. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.